Welcome back, guys. So today we got another Pi case. The NES case? What? Don't know about that. The Perseids NES case. This doesn't look like any NES I have ever seen. Now the NES Pi case does look like an NES. This one, not so much, but they both come in a similar package, and a lot of similarities between the two. And despite this being called an NES case and it not looking like any NES I have ever seen, there might still be a market for it. It might catch your eye. But here's a little sheet with the instructions on it. Just one sheet, no booklet. That's fine. Pretty self-explanatory. And then we do have some screws falling around, so I'm not sure what's up with that. But there we go. The little baggie of screws was open. They're all just flopping around in there, partying, having a good time. Let's go ahead and get these little screws out of there. Move them out of the way. Out of the way, screws. We got a case to look at. So here we go. She does come with a nice little screwdriver. Sweet. Love it when these come with screwdrivers. And then, looking at this bad boy, very similar to the NES Pi case as far as the insides go, the molding and whatnot. It really does look very similar as I'm showing you here. There's some minor differences on the boards they used, but the molding you could see is very similar, especially for where the fan snaps into place. But hey, there are some minor differences, and we're going to go ahead and take a look at that. But first up, let's go ahead and install the Pi. Pretty simple. Plug in your Ethernet cable, plug in your USB, and then there we go. And she press fits in after you attach the board supply, power supply on the GPIO. So we're just going to go ahead and make sure we're sliding in the HDMI and 3.5 millimeter jack so nothing gets broken, and then it'll just kind of pop into place. Just manage those cables a little bit so nothing's getting pinched or disconnected, and you should be fine. So there we go. She is in there. I'm not going to screw this case together. Don't want to waste your time or my time screwing it together. I need this Pi for a different project, so I just want to display how she looks, how everything works. And here we go, plugging in the fan. That is included. The NES Pi case originally did not come with a fan, and this one does. The first revision of this case, everybody had said the fan was hecka loud. So we're going to take a listen to this fan in a moment. But here you go, putting the top half on. Like I said, make sure you're not pinching any cables. You do have some ventilation on the top right there where the fan mounts, so that is nice. And here we go. We do have a slot that slides for 2 USB ports. So you do have access to 4 altogether. That is nice. That works. Power and reset button, that, just like the NES Pi case, is not safe. You have to use it properly. And there's our micro SD slot. And then here is underneath a micro SD card holder. So there we go. That one just kind of has a hinge on it that kind of opens up. Kind of hard to access that. And then on the side, you do have a port for your Ethernet cable that has been moved from where the NES Pi case was. All your ports on the back, power, 3.5 millimeter, and HDMI, so that's nice. And here on the NES Pi case, your little storage slot, it opens up, the door comes off so you can easily access it and whatnot. And you see that the Ethernet was on the front versus this one being on the side. Really wish they would have put them on the back instead. That's the biggest flaw beside the power and reset buttons not being safe. Unless you use them properly, then you're all right. But if you just use them as they say, power and reset, you're going to corrupt your memory over time. No, we've mentioned that plenty of times, and I just want to repeat that again. You will corrupt your memory card doing so. So do not use it unless you know what you're doing. And here we go, putting a micro SD card in here. I do have to say, it's pretty similar to the NES Pi case as far as the form factor of how this goes in. But for some reason, I have a tougher time getting it out because it's so flush, and that little indentation is not very big to get in there. So you either have to use some tweezers or, kind of try to pry it out with your nail, which is what I'm doing here, which kind of stinks. You know what I'm saying? I don't really like that. So this fails for me as far as the micro SD goes. But you see here, they're both very similar. I don't have a Pi in here, so I can't really slide it. But I do have a lot easier time getting a micro SD out of that case versus this one. And then with this case, there's a noticeable gap from where the micro SD card slides in versus, there's just a gap. There's a gap underneath it. So you can risk putting your micro SD card in there and it going underneath and you having to open it up. I have done it a couple times already, messing around with this case, and it is unfortunate. So I did plug her in. I want to see that fan in action, or hear it in action anyway. So for some reason, I'm not getting power at this moment, but I don't know. I don't know what the problem was. But I did disconnect the power and restart it, and it did work. It did boot up, which is a shame. Not sure what the heck was going on. Maybe the plug wasn't in all the way. But here we go. Now she is on, and here is the fan with your audio of the fan. Very quiet this time around. Very quiet. I am not hearing anything, and the fan is positioned to where it is pulling air out of the case, which is what you want it to do. You could have it push, but it's better to pull the hot air out, especially with this being positioned with some ventilation there. That works pretty well. That is appreciated that was done properly. If you have the fan pulling in, you're going to wind up getting dust bunnies and whatever else in there, dust and just accumulated crap. So there you go, little LED light. Overall, if you like the NES Pi case, there really isn't anything to complain about this case, because it's essentially the same case, just a different form factor with a few different revisions for the better or worse, however you want to look at it. You have the little slide thing for your USBs, your Ethernet's positioned differently, but still not in an optimal position, which is unfortunate. Power and reset, not safe. The Rasptendo case here, the power and reset is safe as long as you install the script that they provide. And I really do love the Rasptendo. I just wish it was a little higher quality, a little nicer looking, but hey, can't really complain. So if you're interested in any of these three cases, links will be in the description. I prefer the Rasptendo. A lot of people like the NES Pi, but hey, up to you guys. So appreciate you stopping in, watching. Smash that like button, subscribe if you have not done so already. Check out my 10,000 subscriber giveaway that's going on, giving away an SNES Classic Edition, a bunch of cool stuff, a little mini arcade, some controllers, Raspberry Pis, a lot of cool stuff. So definitely peep that out. And with that said, I will catch y'all next time. Boom!